Happy Friday. Welcome to a special Brain Scratch Searchlight update. I'm John Lorden. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here today. I have to take a little time off this week, but I really wanted to get this update out, so here we are to talk about it. There's been many brain scratchers reaching out, sending me messages about this, and it's kind of tough to understand at this point. We know where Amy Hambrick is. It seems like this might be a foul play situation, but there's not a lot of detail. Let's go ahead and take a look at this together. This is a case that we covered on Searchlight back in August of 2019. Just to give you a reminder, here we have an article from WKBN.com from 2017. Now, it's saying that Amy was last seen November 11th, but in my original coverage on this case, I had found some conversations online where it looked like friends were trying to get a hold of her at the end of October. And the source for hearing her kind of last date of contact, I just had a little question about. It was someone that she was living with. He didn't tell her family that she was missing for a few weeks. It wasn't until Thanksgiving that he relayed that information to them. So I'm not sure how much we can lean on that information necessarily. And I'm pretty sure that he's being re-interviewed as of the discovery that we're going to talk about here today. But back to this article, police in Youngstown have been looking for a missing woman. Fast forward to August of 2022, Youngstown police are investigating bones found in the city's east side. They were called to the woods along Thornhill Road. The police department would not say if they were human bones or not. Fast forward a few weeks from there, and we get the unfortunate update. Nearly 5 years after a 29-year-old woman mysteriously went missing in Ohio, police have found her remains. Police in Youngstown, Ohio said a woman looking for her lost dog came across bones on August 26th. The bones were discovered wrapped in a large cloth in a wooded area, Captain Jason Simon said. That's one of those details that I would love to have more information about, and unfortunately the quote that you're seeing there is all that's been released. There is no additional information. What type of cloth are we talking about? But I do think it makes it somewhat clear that this is, at a minimum, a case of a body being moved, especially because the bones are found wrapped up in this large cloth. Outside of that, is this potentially a foul play situation and her body was taken there? It was transported there in this large cloth. I think that's a possibility. But without the details of what this cloth is, it's a little tough to lean on that too hard. I guess there's even the possibility that for some reason she went out to the woods there with this large cloth around her, something happened, and then she passed away. So I guess that's worth mentioning as well. Her mother, Debbie Dolan, said in 2018 that her daughter went missing as she left Youngstown to meet a friend in North Jackson, about 15 miles away. And she also says, I know there are people who know what happened to Amy. So the other heartbreaking aspect of this is Amy is also a mother to she was a 10-year-old girl at the time that she went missing. So I guess now we're looking at maybe 14 or 15 years old. And when I did the original coverage, I was finding YouTube videos of like the news coverage on this case that had really limited views, like 100 or 200 views. Most of them, only a few comments. But in both those videos, there was a comment from this young girl saying, "That's my mom. I need help. Please help me find my mom." Very, very heartbreaking, especially to know that we've hit this outcome. And of course, there's a challenge of, if we are talking about skeletal remains, can they identify what happened? Can that get us to the next step of finding out the truth and then possibly to the path of justice if that's where this is headed? Let's see if we can learn some more details about that stuff. Her remains were found in a wooded area of the east side of Thornhill, off of Thornhill. So let's take a look at a map. Pulling up Thornhill on Google Maps takes us to this area. Thornhill isn't even on the screen, but essentially there's this Thornhill Road right here. and it looks like it's literally going up a hill. You can see kind of a curvature that's happening all through this. I believe it's in this general area where these bones were found. What's interesting to me is supposedly she was supposed to be taking off. She was going somewhere else to visit friends. That never happens. She winds up being found in the same town. So that's really why I think, that person that she was living with at the time, they've got to be looking in that direction, at least in terms of another interview. The remains were taken to the Mahoning County Coroner's Office. At the coroner's office, the bones were assembled by Dr. Lauren Lease of the Anthropology Department at Youngstown State University. After the skeleton was assembled, forensic dentists were able to identify Hambrick based on her jawbone and dental records. Because of the condition of the remains, the cause of death will be listed as undetermined. Although investigators know the bones had been in the woods for some time, there's no way to tell by their condition how long they had been in that location, or even how long it had been since Hambrick died. So they're not even sure how to estimate time of death. There's nothing that can help. I can't think of any method that would really help them with that, especially once you get down to skeletal remains like that. If there's some soft tissues still left, there's options. They could look at, what's happening with the insect life in that area and kind of try to figure out time estimates based on that. But I think once you're outside of a couple years, I don't even think that method is extremely strong. It might be much less than a couple years, actually. So it's a tough case, really, when you're talking about these types of conditions. They can't identify a cause of death. They don't even know how long she's been dead, and those remains have been out there. So there was the Facebook page to help with the search, Help Find Me. I'm Amy Hambrick. There's a post there as of September 16th. Our family wanted to formally announce that Amy has been found. We're sorry that we haven't posted anything about her yet, but our family is still processing this information. We're all heartbroken and in shock, but we will forever make sure Amy's name lives on. We want to thank you all for sharing all the posts, prayers, and keeping hope for a better outcome. Rest in heaven, Amy. And this story of Amy's disappearance and now this conclusion, just another huge warning message for families that might have someone that's dealing with a severe drug addiction. Unfortunately, that was part of what was going on with Amy. Unfortunately, one of the last memories that her mother has is they were trying to do an intervention with Amy and it did not go well. It was a really tough time in the family. That's the last time that they've spent together, essentially. It's just heartbreaking to think that there's not another chance for that family to reconcile, not another chance for Amy to find sobriety, to find other ways, other paths in this life. But unfortunately, it's just far too late for that. And now we have these big questions being dropped on this family with it looks like it's going to be tough. At least in terms of the physical information, the physical evidence we're talking about in this case, it's going to be tough. But hopefully a big nudge in terms of the investigators. Hopefully we can get some new things going in terms of the investigation. And let's hear from Captain Jason Simon again. He said that authorities will be interviewing and re-interviewing people who may have information related to the case and Hambrick's cause of death. So it looks like it is at least going to spin up some more time and attention and focus from the investigator's side. He also said someone knows what happened. We're asking to speak to either that individual because there's clearly a side to the story here. Speaking about Amy's daughter, her mother, Dolan, said her and Jaden were like two peas in a pod, always together. She misses her mommy so much. And now there is an obituary for Amy because they can't identify when she actually passed away. They do note in the obituary here that she lost her life at the age of 34. There's a very good chance it could have actually happened back when she was 29. We don't have any better information. But she was born in Youngstown, Ohio on December 24th, 1987 to the late James Greg Hambrick and Deborah Dolan. We covered in the previous episode, her father actually passed away soon after she disappeared. Following her graduation from Cheney High School, she studied to become an esthetician. In her free time, she enjoyed listening to her favorite music and going to concerts with her friends. Amy will always be remembered for her quirky laughter and for how she was able to find friends anywhere she went. But her greatest joy in life came from being Jaden's mother. Her daughter was the light of her life. And now that little girl is dealing with a very, very harsh reality. If you have any information on this case, we do have contact details in the description box down below. Please call it in. Please give Jaden, please give Amy's mother, please give this family a chance at understanding what really happened to Amy, and possibly a chance at justice if that's what needs to happen in this case. Is there other possibilities? Yes. Could this be frequently with missing persons cases? One of the scenarios that comes up is someone had an overdose and then the people they were with, tried to cover it up and went and hid them somewhere. Yes, that's a possibility in this case as well. How are we ever going to find out the truth of that? It's going to take some people that really have a heart. It's going to take some people to really step up and maybe push themselves out of their comfort zone a little bit. And I hope that Amy's friends or the people she was associating with that time are those types of people, but it looks like time will tell. I also wish the investigators all the luck in the world pushing through this case again, getting these new interviews, seeing if they could find just even a few answers for this family. We'll keep you guys updated on this case here on the channel. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you back here on Monday with a brand new episode of Case Cracked right here on the Lord and Arch channel.